Any more coming, or this is all? Should we wait or should we begin? Well, since enough here, so might as well begin now. Okay, and anyone else coming late, then please relay the message then. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, boys and girls, children of all ages. Okay. Well, Happy New Year, if we haven't been saying so. Okay. Welcome to the Engineering Mechanic course. Okay. First, let me introduce myself. Okay. My name is Chiravachradej. This is how my name is spelled, just in case you have to contact me. My office is in CVE 5, floor 2. Okay. Well, the deepest part of that zone, I think you know where it is by now, I hope. I was graduated in bachelor degree, master degree and Ph.D. in Swansea University, Swansea of Wales. University of Wales, Swansea. That's a part of Britain. Okay? The Great Britain, England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland all combined to be United Kingdom. Okay? The same thing as Great Britain. Let's talk about what we're going to say today. Today there's no lecture as such yet. Okay? Let's talk about what you should expect. Okay? What I would expect from you and what you should be expecting from me. Like code of conduct, something like that. Okay? Well, we would first talk about what is this course is all about. Okay? Then how do I gonna teach? How am I gonna deliver it? And how you're gonna be learning it? Or at least how we should be teaching and learning it. Then of course, this is something that you guys hold dear to your heart, the marking. How much and where is it coming from? Okay? There will be the system. Well, to talk about marking without saying what it is kind of like out of the topic. Marking is actually a way to evaluate the performance. Okay? So in fact, marking is in fact evaluation. Am I being too fast? You guys understand? Cool. Excellent. Now, the reason I have to explain this quite a lot, I think that probably suggests that I'm not going to teach the way other people teach. And I'm not going to mark the way other people mark. That's why it has to be explained. Since there will be differences, I will give you the reason why I create this system of evaluation, or why should we try this system of evaluation or marking if you want to. Let's go first with what the subject is all about. This subject in our university is called Engineering Mechanics. In other universities, sometimes they have Engineering Mechanics 1, suggesting there is Engineering Mechanics 2, of course. Okay? Here we just call it Engineering Mechanics. In any case, this subject is also called, also known as, you see the word AKA before, right? It stands for also known as. Cannot have another name. Okay? Statics. No matter what the official name is called, the name static is always known to civil engineering students, to mechanical engineering students. It has been called statics since the day my father was studying. The day I'm studying is still called static. And even this day, if you go to talk to your second year students, your seniors, your fourth year, you ask, what is engineering mechanics? They might not know it. If you say static, they will know this is the subject. Okay? So sometimes the nickname have more important. Now, the reason is that, the reason it is called, the word static is in fact meaning staying still, not moving. Okay? So, since the name is called static, and that's the meaning of static, then of course, the heart of the subject cannot be anything else but being still. Stay still. Okay? I think you can guess why we have to study why things stand still. The building has to be here, it cannot move. Most of the things we build have to stay still, right? So this is probably the first cause of it. So this course is actually, as I said, it's about studying the conditions, how objects can stay still. Okay? In the later year, you will have to make sure that it stays still. Basically, in your design course, you will have to guarantee the condition exists. So at least now you have to learn what is that conditions. When we are talking about moving, into mechanics, into physics. Oh, by the way, when we talk about moving or not moving in terms of physics, who do you think of? Newton, yes. He created the 3 laws of motion, or in fact, non-motion is the same law. Okay? This subject here, in terms, usually whatever end up with mechanics, okay, in this science, is actually physics. It built up from what Sir Isaac Newton have found, right? The guy who got apple falling off onto his head, and he also suddenly think there must be a force. I don't know how, but that's the way he is. So basically, this branch of science is called Newtonian physics. Physics that spin off Newton finding. Okay? So we'll be talking about forces, of course, right? Newton talked about law of motion. It involves forces. Now, the 3 laws of motion, the full name is the 3 laws of motion of particles. Particle is in Thai anupak. It has no size. In other words, it means that it cannot rotate. Now, we don't have any object that we concerned with as a particle. We have it as an object, as a body. Okay? So a body, not only it can move, right? Force is with line movement, right? Up, down, left, right, front, back, right? This is a lineage movement. Okay, move in a line. It could be a curvature, it's still in a line. Okay. Now, if it's an object, if it's a body, then it can also rotate. Correct? It can rotate. That is not force. It stays still. Right? It stays. It doesn't move anywhere. It's here, but yet it can rotate. Okay? That is another mechanic. Okay? The force that the type of force that involved with rotation, okay, is called moment. Okay? In other words, it's kind of angular forces. The force that come into angle, right? Rotate around, right? Go in circle. This is called moment. Right? 2 different things. And maybe, not maybe, we will have to study some other relevant features. Okay? We will see what they are really soon. Don't worry about it. Well, I do not do subject 3 for this course because this is the first lecture I done this way. I wasn't sure about the time, but in fact it's a bit long. If I put in subject 3, it will be even longer. But any subjects that involve the word mechanics, you need knowledge of this course to solve it. Okay? This is one of the major subjects that has so many continuing subjects. Now, how do I teach? We see that we have 4 hours per week, usually in the slot. Okay? 2 each time. The style I like to teach is that in each sections there will be 2 hours in all. Okay? If possible, I have to maintain the word possible. Sometimes it isn't, right? But if it's possible, I will cover the theory part within 45 to 50 minutes. After which, depending on the time we have left in that hour, we'll call for a break. About 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? Well, study shows that human brain cannot function, cannot focus more than 50 minutes. I don't agree with it. I think 30 seconds max. From the commercial, just advertisement, just 30 seconds and that's gone, right? But never mind. So that's the way. So at least we have 10-15 minutes to make our brain a bit fresher. Then we come back for the next 45 to 50 minutes of tutorial. Now, let us understand this word tutorial. This is not tutoring school. In this hour, I'm not showing you how to solve problems. This is originate in my educated in my study in Britain. In this hour, there will be questions put in front of you. You will try to solve it, not me. I will go around. If you can't start, I will help you. If you can solve it, I will start throwing in questions for you to answer, usually in terms of how and why. Basically, if you are confused, I will put you in the straight path to solve the problem. If you are not confused, I will make sure that you are. Okay, that's the way. If you can't solve it yet, I will help you be able to solve it. If you can solve it, I will make you understand it. Okay, that's the way it is. One thing about me is that I tend to be on time. I suggest you do too. My class will never start later than 5 minutes after the time. If it's possible, I like it to start it on a half hour straight. Everything I do, I have a plan. You notice the time? When we start late, everything postponed, everything doesn't go as planned. You don't learn the way you should do, I don't teach the way I should teach. It's not really effective. If there is any particular reasons why you cannot show up on time, for example, obviously, idea. If maybe you have another class before this one, and the teacher tend to let you go late, let me know. We can do something about it. I can adapt the time. We can start 15 minutes later, but at least on an agreed schedule. Or I can talk to that lecturer and say, look, could you let them go earlier? Or let them go on time. There are many ways, but please don't just show up late with no explanation. And tell me before time, please. Well, we can adapt our timetable if there is some necessity. But if not, then let's keep the time as it should be. Okay? Whether you notice or not, this is my very slow speaking at the moment. This is my really trying to slow myself down in speaking. It is my nature to speak very fast. I grew up with two brothers and one sister. We have to challenge for time to speak, So it would be advice that you stopping me when it's too fast. The other difficulty is that my voice tends to be deep down in my throat, not on my lips. So sometimes it can hardly make words out of my speaking. Okay, so again, if you start losing me, if I'm starting losing you, then let me know. So I can stop, I can slow down, I can try to explain again. This subject is one of the subjects that most of lectures continue from the previous one. Meaning you don't understand the first lecture, you will not understand the second. When you don't understand the second or the third, you have no clue. By the time for 45th lecture, you probably end up having no idea what the course is all about. Okay? So if you start not understanding, stop me and ask. Most of my lecture I plan for about 30 minutes so that you can have time to ask. Okay? Unless I can't help it. Sometimes the topic is so big, But nevertheless. Okay, so this is one thing that is totally different from your experience of learning, of studying. The word assign reading, I have to make clear here that I can ask in the exam if I tell you to read. Let's make this point clear. It actually means I can ask you more than I teach as long as I tell you to read. Apparently, this is how other part of the world learn. What we teach in classes is just the tip of the iceberg, small part. There will be huge out world that you should be doing the reading. Now, what do I expect from you then? Of course, we discussed about time already, so I'm not going to repeat it. Okay? Try to be on time. The most important message tends to be the first 5 minutes to 10 max, because I will tell you what we are studying, so you know exactly where you are going. You miss the first 10 minutes, the rest of the class is really confusing, believe me. I want your mobile phone silence. Put it on vibrate, I don't mind. Okay, I want it silence. If it vibrates, you need to answer it. Walk quiet, don't have to ask. Just walk quietly out of the room and answer outside, not in the class. Okay? The word quietly means not noticeable. Walk out here and walk there, even though quiet is so noticeable, don't do it. Okay? Walk to the back of the room, then the side, and then out. Are we clear? Thank you. Again, no need to ask for permission. Water is okay. Eating is not. Okay? Normal conduct. Well, unless the law, I'm not sure about the library, but usually in my class, water is fine. I'm okay with it. Inside the lecture sessions, okay, as usual, emphasize again, if you start not to understand, if you start getting confused, if you can't make out what I'm saying, just ask. Let's get this point clear. I'm not blaming you that you are so passive in your learning. I'm not blaming you. This is the way you've been taught for 12 years, right? So basically, this is what they tell you. Listen to your teacher, obey your teacher, blah, 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 blah. Okay? We have to get rid of that idea. Okay? My class is not about you obeying me. It's not about I'm saying and you listening. My class is about I'm trying to tell you something. If I say and you don't understand it, then I'm not telling. Right? When you turn up to my class, you should expect to understand something, understand the thing I'm saying. If you hear but you can't understand it, then you are not learning. Right? So what I'm trying to do is I try my part. I try to make my explanation as simple as possible. But if it's not understandable yet, you could ask and then I try again. Okay? I guarantee you this, I will not be annoyed when you asked. I will be more annoyed if you don't ask. Okay, this is communication. Okay, this is not about saving my face. It's not. Okay. So, again, the same point. If I'm too fast, tell me to slow down. And tell me if anything I type is wrong or if my calculation is wrong. Again, I emphasize my point. This is not about saving my face, it's about you getting the right information. I make mistakes, I'm a human. Okay? Someone say otherwise, don't believe them. I'm just a person. I make mistakes as much as any. I guarantee you this, during the course, there will be mistakes appearing on the slide. Some will be really mistakes. Some will be what I put in. When I start my second year of lecture, I try. Just some silly calculation, and then at the end of the calculation is 5 plus 8, and then I put equal to 29. You think how long people stop me and said, hey, this is wrong? Nearly half an hour. Get rid of this idea that you cannot argue. Okay? Here is the class that is so open, probably the first class in your life that you can argue anything as long as you have reason for it. Okay? I emphasize myself. I am not any other thing but a person. I make mistakes. Sometimes I really do. If you spot the mistakes, let me know. Okay? Then introductory sessions, as I introduced already, what it is you solve the problem and I try to help. What I will ask you to do is try to solve this problem yourself rather than waiting for your friend to do it and copy it down. I tell you why. In these hours, it's probably the only chance you can make mistakes without bad consequences. You make mistakes, then I tell you it's not right, so that you can understand it and make it right. In homework, no mark deduct here, right? Just simple practice. Right? If you make mistake in homework, you got marks deducted, correct? I mean that's probably reasonable, but not much. Because homework are not that much, not that many. In exam, you make one mistake, it costs about 10 marks. You start to get a lot. In your career as an engineer, you make mistakes, you get really close to jail. The worst is you got fired. Well, not the worst. The best is you got fired with those mistakes. This is the only time that you can make mistakes without nothing bad follow. might as well try it. Okay? Any questions so far? Now, we talk about textbooks. If you look at the sheet, I recommend 3 textbooks. Okay, I'm not meaning that you have to have 3 of them. Okay? Now, before we talk about how you should choose your textbooks, maybe we should focus on why you should have textbook first, shall we? Because it would be silly for us to say how we're going to choose it if we don't want any, right? So let's talk about why do we need it? Okay, why textbooks? Why do we need it? You come to lecture already. Okay. Simple fact, there is no way I can teach everything in the book within the given time. 4 hours, 15 weeks, well less usually. You see the book, it's about this thick. Right? It's impossible. There is no place on earth gonna pick up a static textbook and teach every single topic to you. It's not gonna happen. In fact, in a very developed country, they will teach less than I teach in this class, believe me. Because most of them know how to study themselves. My job here is to make sure that you understand the fundamental idea, to understand the basic concept, up to maybe able to solve medium level problems, level of difficulties of course. And any more advanced, then it's up to you to practice more and read more. Okay? So that is compulsory for me. I can't actually teach the whole thing. Okay? So the textbook is purely a must-have so that you can do your own reading and your self-study. Studying in university should be as close as your working life as possible. Once you start working, there will be no lecture for you to attend. Meaning if there's some job that you have to do that is above your knowledge, then you have to have a book, starting reading it, studying it yourself. Right? This is probably the beginning point for you. Well, if you look at the American system or in Europe system, this system of reading and reporting back to the teacher has been done since high school, the first year of high school. Some these days start even from before high school even. Okay, so we are catching up here. Okay, but fear not, we have been successful for the last 15 years to do it, and I feel that we're going to be successful with you guys too. Now, as I said, it doesn't have to have all 3 textbooks. The textbook I recommended are 3 different viewpoints on the same subject. These 3 books talk about the same thing. These 3 books talk about the same topic, the same theory. Maybe they arrange in different way, maybe they explain it in different way. Think of it like this. You have studied with so many lecturers, right? Each lecturer has his own style, right? Someone just maybe reading it out for you. Someone keep telling you story in the class, depending on his style. Right? These books are the same way, meaning each book was written by different authors. Right? Each book we have different way. In these 3 books, one of them, I'm not naming it, is really concerned with how the real world is, explain things with picture, a lot with idea. Okay? The second book is somewhere in the middle. The third book is purely mathematics, attempting to explain the whole world without picture, without much of picture, but more with mathematics, matrix, vectors, differential equations. If you like it that way, maybe one of those books will be suitable for you, right? Since it's so different, or in fact, this subject here, static, has been studied since engineering happened, right? So many textbooks around. If a textbook contains the word static, it tends to be usable. Okay? Any one of them would do. How do you know which one? I suggest you check out, have a look of the books. There are copies in the library, right? And try to read maybe a small topic. So at least you have the idea whether you understand this guy or not. Okay? In the 3 or maybe 10 books you read, anything that the book that you think is easier to understand, that will be the book for you. Okay? So choose the one that is the easiest to understand. It's different. I might understand some book better than others. You might understand some other books, right? We have different background, we have different ideas. So that's the way you choose it. Oh, by the way, no, I can't say it, it's recorded. I will say at the end of the class. Let's continue. The marking. There will be two main sources of your marks coming. One is the coursework. The word coursework is the work you've done during the courses. Okay? And written examinations. Written examination meaning something you write. Okay? In this case, it's like midterm and, well, it is exactly midterm final. The way I separate it, the coursework will be 20 marks, right, in all. 2 components of the coursework. One is the homework, the one I assign, and then you go back, bring it back to your place to solve it and then hand it in later, right? That's called homework. Then the second component is oral examination, usually in the form of presentation and question and answer. But this time I question, you answer. Gonna be fun. Written exam 80. As usual, standard midterm 40, final 40. As straightforward as that. I think final exam doesn't have to explain much. In each topic there will be some certain way I mark it, and I will let you know as the topic come around. Okay? I think what I have now to talk about is the homework. Oh, hang on. Is that okay? You understand this part? Right? I have to talk about the homework a bit because there is something that needs explaining. Okay? The way I mark the homework, there will be 2 parts that are given. I will give out about 2 to 4 questions per week for you guys to solve. Okay? 2 sessions of lectures, so maybe each section 1 or 2 questions usually. Okay? If there are some holiday happening, only 1 session, then homework is less. Okay, depending on how many times we meet in a week. Now, in each question, I will split the 50 and 50. Let's say 10. The first 5 points will be given straight away if you hand it on time, if you are not copy. Meaning, you hand in, I see the work, is on time, I give out 5 marks. And if there is no evidence that you copy, then you keep that 5 marks, no matter whether it's right or it's wrong. Because the correctness mark is the last 5 points. Homework is not actually should be about marks. Homework is what we usually call feedback. What does it feedback? Why is it called feedback? Because when I look at this, the way you solve it, if you do it yourself, then I know whether you understand me or not. If you don't, maybe we can find a way to repeat the topics. Once you start copy, it doesn't give anyone anything. I will show it later in the recent part. Okay? But what I can say here, and you should listen, is I'm very serious about copying. It is wrong and you should not do it. Let's continue. The deadline. When we say on time, there must be a deadline. Correct? A deadline of the homework is 8:15 in the morning, not 8:30, 8:15. Meaning 8:16 is late. Exact to the minute. 8:15 on the first working day of the following week. You understand that phrase? Meaning, if I give homework today, you hand in next Monday. If Monday is a holiday, then it becomes Tuesday. If Monday, Tuesday is a holiday, then it becomes Wednesday. Okay? If it's the whole week off, like Songkran, then it's the was Monday. Basically, the first working day of the following weeks. Okay? If that is such thing. Is that clear? Why 8:15? Why not 8:30? The reason being, usually in this university, the class starts at 30. If you have a class at 8:30, then you hand in 8:30, you go to the class. Teacher, why are you late? Dr. Chiravachradej said I have to hand in at 8:30, right? So that's 15 minutes so that you can hand in the homework and go to the class on time. Notice the word deadline. It means that you cannot hand in after, but you can hand in before. If you don't want to wake up early Monday morning, maybe hand in Friday. The place to hand in is in my office, CB5, second floor. The box will be in my office, meaning once you hand in, no one can take it out for copying. Oh, by the way, the word copying, I'm not tracing. I haven't gotten there yet. Okay? If you give your friend your homework to hand in and they copy it, I can't help that. As far as I'm concerned, you should hand in the homework yourself. Okay? So because I'm sure that once it's into my office, it will never go out to be copied. So whatever it happened, it has to happen before it reaches me, which is your responsibility, not mine. And that is the reason why the box is inside my office, because there has been claim that someone took it out of the box to copy. Just normal step to prevent things from happening. Okay? So it's your responsibility not to be copied as well as not to copy. Now, what happens if you copy then? If I caught you the first time, I will wipe out all your previous works, including the one that you copy. Get this straight. Not only that homework will become zero. Whatever you have handed in previously will all be zero. That is the meaning of wipe out. Okay? If I caught the second time, all your coursework, that 20 marks, you will score zero no matter what. Your own risk. Okay? Get the rule clear. If you're not clear on this rule, you should ask now. This is recorded. If you accept it now, you can't sue me later, you know. Legally, because this is agreeable already. So if you're not understanding the term, you should ask now. No? Okay. So weird. What about oral examination then? Oral examination will be two parts. Presentation and then question and answer. Of course, you present, I question, you answer. Reply me with a question doesn't give you any marks. So give me an answer, not question back. Okay? By the way, let me make this one thing clear. This is scientific report. If I ask a question and then you said because you said so, cannot be taken as an answer. I need logical explanation, not a quotation. Okay? They'll be happening twice. At least I plan for twice. Okay? One at about the time of midterm and one hopefully before final. Okay? How are we going to do it? Well, we improvise. Okay? And see how we're going to get it done. Your performance in this oral examination will be the scale of your coursework. If you do well, I will add in certain percentage, up to 20. If you do so, then you have the same marks. If you do so badly, I will deduct some point, probably up to minus 20%. What happens if your coursework already zero? Apparently, I have to force you to do presentation. I will tell you the reason later. Oh, hang on. This is how you should be presenting scientific report. Okay? The outline, the guideline will be posted in Facebook. The Facebook page was written in the sheet. Okay? So join in because I'm going to lock up the group soon. If not, then you please follow with your friends what to do. Okay? There are many ways you can actually find information. You don't really have to be a member of that page. Okay? Now, because this oral examination, this presentation become quite an important part of my courses, then as I said, it will be imposed. Meaning you have to show up for this oral examination. Otherwise, the grade of FA, fail attendance, will be given. It's the same as F, meaning you have to enroll again. Basically, you perform badly in presentation is not as bad as not showing up. Okay? Because not showing perform badly, you got some point deducted. You still can pass the course, okay? But if you don't show up for presentation, the punishment is much harsher. Why don't we use other scheme? Maybe we should discuss reason. There are 3 things that I actually put in that I think other lecturer doesn't do, right? The first thing about why don't I allow copy? Well, besides it being so wrong, right? Because you are handing someone else's thought, you are handing in someone else's work and claim it's your own. It's wrong by the concept already. However, there are more worse things to come, okay? Why do we have to do oral examination, okay? And I believe many of you have a question, why do I have to have written examination? Why not multiple choices? Multiple choices is easier for you, it's easier for me, right? You know how they mark multiple choice exam? They have a template, right? They put it on your answer and then they tick, 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 and then they count, so easy. Why do I force you guys to read, to write it? And then I have to read every single line you write. And your handwriting, oh, please. It is not fun, but there's a reason behind it. Let's go one by one, shall we? Let's talk about why copying is not encouraged. It's in fact forbidden. Okay? I show you a graph. This is a graph plotting the mark of homework on this line. A mark of homework. This line, the mark in midterm. Usually we call this kind of graph relationship between blah and blah. This one is called a non-relationship between blah and blah. You look at this guy here. On this line, everybody on this line has homework mark 10, which means full marks. This is only half of them. Half of 20 is 10. Look at the exam. This guy nearly 0. This guy almost 35. And it's scattered around. It's not one here and the rest are here. No, it's scattered around. There's no relationship at all. This person here, oh my God, homework 4, fail, not even half, exam 38 out of 40. Right? What does it mean? What does it tell you? It tells me that homework doesn't help anything. It doesn't help your study at all, right? If it helps, people with high score in homework should have high score in exam. It doesn't. It doesn't show that trend at all. So what should we do then? Why should we work on something that doesn't help us? Think about this. When you hand in homework, no matter which way you do it, you at least have to spend 10 to half an hour per question. You have to use at least a sheet of paper and ink every single week to hand in. Wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your resource. Then I have to look at it, I have to mark it, wasting my time, wasting my energy. For that, I don't think so. I don't mind hard work, and engineers do not mind hard work if it's effective, if it means something. But if it's something that like this, I don't think we're gonna do it. So, what should I do? Cancel out the homework? Exam 50-50? Then I don't think you like it. I personally don't like it either. Okay? So, what I can do is make sure that you perform on the homework, and at least once you perform on the homework, then you should be performing in the exam. This is an example. The next graph is an example of what we call relationship. Here we are. This is relationship between the midterm exam and the final exam. You see the band? People who get low marks in midterm tend to get also low mark in final. People who get high mark in midterm tend to also get high mark in the final. Not exactly straight line function, but you can see the trend going up. Statistically, meaning if you do so badly in midterm, maybe you should consider withdrawal, right? But what I suggest is that you spend your time and energy to make sure that you get midterm really well done, right? But what I want to see is the homework reflect this graph, the same thing. The only way I can do it, the only way I can guarantee it, is that you have to do it yourself. Questions? So that reason is clear. Second thing, why oral examination? In the last 15 years, the whole world, especially in developed world, Britain, one of the leading country, they are talking about certain skills that wasn't required before, but now required on your generation as a graduate. It is called 21st century skill, right? When my father graduated, your grandfather graduated, what's the point? No one ever asked them to use computer. Computer never exists, correct? Right? The time my graduation come, you can only survive well if you know how to use computer, correct? So that was what they call 20th century skill. Now, up to your generation, apparently they want even more. They discuss mostly two sets of skills, cognitive and cognitive. Cognitive is more to do with logics, reasoning. Whereas cognitive, the second part, is more like personal relationship. So I'm not going that way, not my expertise. I will remain with the first part, okay? Apparently, most companies, if you're going to do well in those companies, you must have these certain skills. You have to be able to analyze and utilize information. Do you know the word utilize? Utilize means use, okay? Analyze is the ability to understand it. Utilize is the ability to use it. Well, this one here, since my father's generation, it has been required. Okay? This second one here is only in your generation that they start to want it. They said that you must be able to address complex issues and problem and issues. The problem is that what we have studied these days is like a column. Each subject in its own. Each topic separate. The real world, the topics are not separate. Real world, it is one big problem. So you need to be able to link your knowledge together to solve one big problem. That's what they mean by complex issue and problem and issue. Okay? So basically, this oral examination, you'll be given quite a bigger issue than just normal exam. That you have to pull information in your head together to solve that problem. The last one, which I'm not addressing here though, but let you know for now. You have to be able to create the pattern. Meaning if you see some problem happening time after time after time after time, you must be able to create a system to solve it beforehand. Unfortunately, actually all these three skills in my generation, people who actually do well and keep developing will contain this skill within 5 to 10 years of working. In your generation, they require you to have it since graduation. I'm not talking about Thai companies anymore. Don't forget, I do not aim that. We want you guys to become global engineers. You can work anyway, so we have to compete at the world stage. That is the way we are. Trust me, it's not fun for me either, this oral presentation. Okay? So why do we have written examination? Why not multiple choice? Right? I mean, you can guess. Multiple choice is simple for you, simple for me. Why not? Here is your work as civil engineers. This is what we call architectural drawing. Architect's drawing by the name. Okay? This is going to be given to you and tell you that design the floor, design the column, design the beam. There is no choice. Can I have beam A, B, C, D to choose from? No. Do we have floor A, B, C, D to choose from? No. This is your real work. That one, blank papers, then you have to decide what is the beam look like, how strong it has to be, the floor, the column, and everything else. And this is exactly why we need written examination, solving problem from blank paper, because this is your work. The next part doesn't concern you though. The next part is for this environmental engineering. This is about septic tank, the same thing. Okay? They will have to design everything from blank paper as well. Before I go to that point, I should hand out this. If everything going to plan, there will be 3 columns, right? Because I taught 3 sections altogether, 3 groups altogether. I think you are in the first column. The date is in the first column, right? You're 31, correct? Section 31. Okay. Then during the course of the semester, okay, there might be some time you get confused and you want to ask more information. I have available time face to face, according to my slot in this schedule, is Tuesday and Wednesday in the morning, from 8:30 to 11:30. I usually turn up very early in the morning, so 8:30 you can walk in. Okay, the place, as I said before, CB5 second floor. However, it is suggestible, it is recommendable, advisable that you make appointment, because from time to time I have to walk around. But that time, if you make appointment, then you have priority. Is that clear? Or otherwise, you could check whether I'm around in the campus or not. Okay. There are certain gaps in your lecture timetable, if you notice. Apparently, there's some time that I will not be around at all. Okay? This is the time that I'm not around. There are reasons for it too. The last week of February, I will be in Japan training our university executive. I'm training them. A part of the training is about negotiation with foreign university. That's why we go there. Okay? That's the last week of February. The first week of March, I will have to go to Indonesia to talk about exchange program, or our program, of course. Okay? We are going global. Then 12 to 13 of March, I'll be in Vietnam. That is my personal matter though, I have to say. 2 days. Well, 23rd to 27th February in Japan, I think I can access internet quite easily. When I have free time, I will check the Facebook and answer your questions. The first week of, that is actually your exam time. That is your exam period, correct? Okay, so if your exam is in the second week, maybe you have certain questions to ask them. However, on the first week of March, I'm not sure about internet accessibility in Indonesia, so I can't guarantee that. But if I can access it, I will answer any question you post to send me. Okay. However, on 12th and 13th of March, I will not answer anything until I come back to Thailand. Then of course, we have the Songkran break. You might be wondering what happened to 1 week before exam. Usually, if it's possible, I will not teach in the last week before the exam, because whatever I teach in those weeks, you are not ready for the exam anyway. It's too short time. So this subject will break 1 week before exam, if it's possible. Mostly possible. Any questions? Well, actually, correction. The last week of February is not executive. It's executive to be. They are not executive yet, but they are the people that we think that they will become executive later. Okay, they are in management at the time. Okay, no questions? You sure? Okay then. If so, thank you very much.